Hey there everybody and welcome back to the channel. We are continuing our coverage of the Scalebreaker DLC, covering every single class balance change. In this video we're looking specifically at the Dragonknight class. Before we jump in, remember that I will have separate videos discussing the balance changes for each class. You can always find links to those in the description below. And as always, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on so you can see those updates as soon as they become available. So checking out those Dragonknight class changes, starting with the Ardent Flame skill line, we've got a change to the Combustion passive. This is sort of the resource recovery sustain passive that Dragonknights were given a few patches ago. So what they did here is they decreased the cooldown on this passive from 5 seconds to now 2 seconds. And the explanation here is it was done to help the cost increases that we've been seeing across the board, especially for AoEs. So don't be surprised if the Dragonknight class also has some cost increases. I think we'll see that in a second. But yeah, the Combustion passive, I believe this gives 500 Magicka or Stamina based on the enchant that you are using. So you'll definitely want to make use of this because that's basically 500 extra recovery that you're getting on your Dragonknight build. So taking a look at Fiery Breath next. So they increased the cost of this ability slightly to 2808 up from 2700. They also decreased the dot damage per tick by 15%. I'm guessing because it's an AoE dot and they have their quote-unquote AoE standards that they need to maintain. So that is a pretty sizable nerf. But again, with Fiery Breath, you're getting a very nice upfront damage on that skill as well. So it'll still be good for damage. It does the flame damage debuff as well, so people will still run that skill. Now another nerf here with Lava Whip. This one, probably most of you who have used the new Molten Whip, you might have been expecting this. Molten Whip morph, they reduced the stacking spell damage bonus from this passive to 75 from 125. That stacks 3 times, I believe, on Molten Whip, so that's now 225 spell damage. A little bit down from what it was previously. And again, this was really strong, you guys. This was buffed through the roof in the Elsewhere chapter. A lot of people were surprised at how strong it was, so I think this is pretty expected that they would bring it back in line a little bit. So Searing Strike, which is our single target damage over time, fixed a bug here when the target was blocking. Okay, increased the cost to 2160 from 1350. That is a big jump in cost. But they did increase the dot damage as well. So that's actually pretty nice. 26% per tick dot damage increase now on your Searing Strike. That sounds pretty good. Is it going to be justified by the cost increase? We'll have to see. And we'll have to see how Sustain is on the Dragonknight, specifically Magicka Dragonknight. Could be a little bit challenging with everything getting cost increases this patch. So we've got Ash Cloud, which is AoE. You can either have AoE damage over time or AoE healing. Those are kind of your two morph options. So they decreased the healing by 30%. Okay, I mean the healing was not great to begin with. Well, let's see what else. Increased the cost to 5670. This was already a really costly ability. Look at the initial cost, 4500. 4,600 basically, and now it's up over 1,000 more. That's a massive cost for this ability. So looking at the two morphs now, Cinderstorm, which is the healing morph. This morph is now 50% stronger than the base ability, which will result in about a 1% heal reduction. Okay, so I kind of see what they're doing here. They kept the healing basically the same. They just lowered the healing from the base morph and then ramped it up for the healing morph, which is Cinderstorm. So then the Eruption morph, which is the damaging morph, they reduced the damage over time by 30% per tick. That's a big reduction there. So I don't know how to feel about that. Honestly, this ability was not overpowered, I don't think. Especially if you're playing solo, this cost is hard to justify for the damage and the healing that it does. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it's still worth running. I'm not sure. I was using this the healing more, for example, on my Magicka Dragonknight solo build for the extra heals. I don't know if I'm going to do that now because that's a lot of Magicka for sure. And then Petrify got nerfed as well. It looks like they increased the cost to 4,050 up from 2,970. Over 1,000 cost increase on that one. They reduced the range as well down to 7 meters from 8 meters. Okay. And then Shattering Rocks fixed a bug here. So I don't see this as being quite as difficult for Magicka DK, but for Stamina DKs who like to use Petrify, that's going to hurt a little bit. That extra cost from your Magicka pool, which you already have to run your volatile armor. You might be running shield for major mending. This is, it's going to be tougher to run this skill. So that actually wraps it up for the Dragonknight changes. Really not a lot positive here, I'm sorry to say, other than the increased sustain from your combustion passive. Almost everything else got either a damage nerf or a sustain nerf. But we're kind of seeing that across the board with all classes though. So I think we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out and how our classes feel, if the sustain is reasonable or not. But I'm curious what you guys have to say about the Dragonknight changes. How are you feeling if you're running Magicka Dragonknight, Stamina Dragonknight? Do you think these skills are going to be viable next patch, or are you going to be changing it up a little bit? Let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video today, don't forget to crush that like button. Really helps these videos get noticed here on YouTube, which I always appreciate. Stay tuned for more class updates and balance change videos coming up later this week. And until then, I will see you guys around in the next video. Thanks.